But one thing I noticed, like when you transition from having your book on the Riser site into Michael Janda as the author and coach and speaker and expert, you dropped the work altogether.
Yeah. And I'll probably say that it doesn't matter anymore.
My name is Ben Burns. I'm a designer, creative director, and father of the year. 5 years running. I'm on a journey to rethink, revamp, and redesign my personal website. It's the only project that I've never finished. It's time to get this built. This series is all about a raw, unfiltered look at the creative journey. Along the way, I'll be interviewing my friends, experts in their fields, and the people who simply know better than I. I'm gonna get their take on the creative process and all the twists and turns it takes to build this thing. And where we'll end up? No idea. It might turn out great, but it might not. That's the adventure, that's the journey. Welcome to Built by Hand. In this first episode, my mission is to figure out the purpose of my website and come up with a plan of attack. Hey, by the way, if you are as excited as I am for this series, do me a favor, hit that like button right now. Do it, please. We're on a mission to help over 1 billion people make money doing what they love, and you liking this video actually helps us reach more of them, so I would really appreciate it. I've been designing professionally since 2006. But in the span of those 15 years, I've probably had just as many portfolios. Since 2013 though, all of my portfolio websites weren't personal. They were agency sites, with the most recent one being Burnt Creative. And with these sites, I had crystal clear goals. They did specific jobs. I wanted to onboard new clients, and new clients wanted to make sure that we were a good fit. And that clarity made it really, really easy to develop website content. Now though, things are a little less clear. I'm still a designer, but I'm not really looking for clients right now. I'm in a business leadership position, but it's not a business that I own. I'm an educator, but most of the educational content that I create lives on another website. I spoke at an event a few years ago that wanted both a personal and a business website for their speaker biography. So I just took a few days and I stood up a very simple landing page. Now, this has become a site that's frequently broken, rarely updated in any meaningful way, but I'm always tinkering with it. And whenever I want to try out a new feature for another project, I would test it out on my site. I've created a bit of a monster. When I do something, I want to do it well. And I felt like this site, it just didn't represent me, my skill, or the value that I have to offer. I feel like I don't fit into a box. To be honest, I'm a little lost. I mean, I know what you guys are looking for out of us, out of the Futur as a brand. But when it comes to me personally, I don't know, does my past work even matter? Like, what content do you want to see on my site? And on a bigger scale, like, what's the point of this project? Is this something that my audience, you guys, is this something that you even want? I don't know. I started to wonder if I could even find these answers by myself. Luckily, I didn't have to. Guys, we're on this call because, honestly, I need your help. Call it user research if you want. I just wanted to connect with my people and hear what they were looking for, specifically from me. So I put out an open call for anybody who had a few minutes to give me some feedback.
I think right off the bat, I would want kind of a way to go into 2 different portals. Like who are you for the future? And who are you as who you've always been?
I discovered a few things. First, people definitely want to hear from me. They care about what I have to say. They want to feel more connected and hear my story. They like my approach or the way I deliver things or my tone of voice.
The work at the Futur is great, but you have such a strong individual spirit that really comes across. In a sense, you're kind of set apart at the Futur. In a way, you don't fit at the Futur. I'll say that to you, right? Because I think of you almost as I would, you could be an avatar because you have a systematic way of approaching things, but also it's your humanity that comes across. You have a gentle spirit, wrapped in that burly guy thing. That's that's sexy as hell to women, and men really relate to it.
I didn't up. So I just got done with a walk, and I've been thinking a lot about that first group therapy video. It seems like the audience actually cares about what I want to say, and they care about hearing my opinion, which opens up the site for content. I'm stoked about that. So that gave me a lot of hope. It also gave me clarity on my voice. There was one guy that said that I should look towards Anthony Bourdain.
It all just kind of makes me think about like the kind of content I would follow. Like if Anthony Bourdain was a designer, we all knew he was a chef, but he was able to sort of travel the world and go to these different restaurants, whether it was just like a mom and pop pizza shop down the street, or if it was this 3 Michelin star establishment, and he would be able to just sit down with anyone, eat the fare, and just talk about, you know, the business, the life.
Anthony Bourdain is just an idol of mine, and hearing him say that he's someone that I should look towards because he could see me filling that role, it was such a confidence boost. I left there feeling inspired and valued. It meant a lot. So to everybody that was in that session, thank you. I need a website. I need a place to share the work that I've done in the past. I need a home outside all of the businesses that I've helped grow over the years. But here's the thing. I don't think that another portfolio site is the right fit here. Portfolio websites are pretty simple. It's like a quick snippet about the creator and then a big list of projects that they've worked on. Typically, you'll see a designer's personal site structure that looks something like this: home, about, work, and contact. It's simple, it's effective for finding clients and jobs, but it doesn't quite fit me. A standard design portfolio site's purpose is to bring in new clients or land that sweet new job. And at this point in my life, I'm not really interested in either one of those things. I think I have more to offer my audience than just a repository of old projects. You know, I have opinions and ideas and stories to share. So I set out to find an example of a designer's site that was structured a little differently. You know, something that blurred the lines between designer, educator, and content creator. A site that broke the mold. Pentagram, work, about, contact. Pollen, work, about, contact. Work, shop, about, contact. Work, about, resume, work, about, contact.
Different, but not really.
I had to start from scratch. But before I start putting together a plan or building new sitemaps or wireframes, I needed to get a few questions answered. So I reached out to, somebody who blazed the trail from designer to thought leader and happened to write one of my favorite books.
Hey, I'm Michael Janda. I am an author, an ex-agency owner, and I help creative entrepreneurs level up their businesses. I think for you, you have an opportunity here to say Ben Burns is not a designer. He's a family man. He's a thought leader. He's a partner at the Futur. Here's the inside scoop of Ben Burns, and let people get some insight to who you are, and then they connect with you on this deeper emotional level, and they become those fans for life. And if you don't ever show that piece, I don't know how you connect with people.
But one thing I noticed, like when you transitioned from having your book on the Riser site, which was your agency, into Michael Janda as the author and coach and speaker and expert, you dropped the work altogether.
Yeah.
Like I can't find any of the work in your ecosystem.
Well, if you look at it, if you go to the Riser page, you'll see my sizzle reel on there. So if you click on About, and then there is a page, if you scroll down, you can see a page for Riser, and you can see a page for EKR, and you can see a page for Fox and OKID. Those are my last 4 gigs. And when you click into one of those, you'll see the work in there.
Interesting.
Now, the reason And you see, like on the riser page, I have our studio sizzle reel. I have the portfolio reel in there, and a lot of interior shots of the studio and stuff, and the client list and the client testimonials and awards, and then brand and stuff. But I don't lead with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like being too humble or something, or if it's just I don't want to show off too much, or if it doesn't matter anymore. And I'll probably say that it doesn't matter anymore, because here's the reality. My first book is called Burn Your Portfolio, and the concept behind Burn Your Portfolio is that at some point you build reputation and people buy because you have built a reputation, and that's what they're purchasing from, not because they saw your portfolio. It doesn't matter nearly as much anymore that what my portfolio looks like. What matters is that, oh, I heard of Mike Janda. He's that guy on Instagram. Oh, I love his content. Oh, I follow him. Oh, I read his books. So good. And that's the reputation that happens. Now, if somebody really wants to dig in, I do have the work on there, but it is buried a couple clicks deep.
One key insight that I took away from that chat was that my work didn't actually matter much. While on one hand, that was a little disappointing, I loved the way that he presented his work. So I made the decision right there. My work is going to be on the site. It's just not going to be prioritized. I wasn't going to put it front and center. But how I was going to do this, that didn't come until I had another chat with a dear friend of mine, someone you may recognize.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matthew Encina. I'm a content creator and creative director. When you talk about your work and experience, if it can be presented like a timeline or something like that, where it's not necessarily, so it's not just like click on this and read the case study, click on this, read the case study. But as you're scrolling down, it's like, oh, here, 2007, I first started playing with Photoshop or whatever. And, I made my first logo. And then, 2012, I started my business. And, you can kind of do milestones in your career. And if you want to, you can just put bullet points of major things that you accomplished. Mm-hmm. So at Blind, like, what were some of those things? And then you could possibly highlight one or two of those things, and you could always push to that if you want to, right? Or you could also put in the timeline awards you've won. Mm-hmm. So it's just things that will validate for somebody in a very simple way without consuming everything. Only highlight the things that are interesting.
That was it. It was a creative way to display my work by just weaving it into my story. It's present, but not prioritized. And also, I love Matthew's resources page. It's a hub of all the things that he thought his audience would find valuable all in one place. We were actually taking a look at your site the other day, and one thing that I really like is your resources page.
That's definitely hacked together over the past 10 years, so I got to figure out a better way to do that, but it was definitely that point. It's like a catch-all. So people are interested in some of the things that you listen to, or the things that you watch, or the books. Like, people always have these questions, and it's nice to just have a place to push them to. And at the beginning of this call, that's why I asked, like, what do you want them to do on the site? And what I've realized is people have very specific asks of me, like, oh, I want to hire you as a speaker. And then I realized, oh shoot, okay, I got to email them. I got to explain what it is that I can talk about. Then we got to negotiate rates and all this stuff. And, taking a page from the MrBenBurns playbook is like, how can I automate this or simplify this? How can I give them a way to do this easily? It's like, oh, duh, just make a dedicated page to speaking. So I did that. And then same thing with resources and whatever else. And I'm trying to think about my site in those senses. It's like, what are they asking for? And then how can I deliver that to them in an interesting way or an easy way?
I finally had a good idea of what I wanted to make, and now it was time to put pen to paper and pixels on screen and start getting to work. So I started by documenting all of the different jobs that my site needed to do. Just to recap, here's what we did today. We identified the users, which kind of had it already in my brain. Me as the user of the site, the audience, viewers, future fans, people coming to learn, to see the work, potential clients, and then existing clients. And then we identified what they want to do, their goals, their wants, their needs from the site. We made a list, and then we translated that list into a sitemap. The first two things that I like to do when planning a website are, number one, put together a visual sitemap. A sitemap is a great way to map out and organize all the pages that belong in your website. And number two, put together a very basic set of wireframes. Now, wireframes are a great way to organize the content of a single page in a very visual way. Now, if you want more information about both site mapping and wireframing, hit the link in the description below. Our sitemap kind of identifies the major pages and the major collections of pages like content and work. And then we've identified what content goes on each page. So we basically have a plan or a map on on the entire site. So now we can start kind of moving into the next phase. All right, I'm gonna start wireframing, and it's been a minute since I've wireframed on XD, so this is gonna be fun. Okay, I'm gonna check this box because I think that we have done some good work on the wireframe so far. Something wasn't quite right. See, without a conversion-oriented goal like selling something or getting someone to sign up to something, home pages are the toughest nut to crack on any site, in my opinion. You have all the content inside the site vying for attention, so what do you put on the homepage? My initial strategy for this page was just to, help somebody get to where they wanted to go. Surface the important stuff, highlight the different areas of the site. And there isn't anything inherently wrong with that, but I felt like I was diluting or watering down an otherwise strong plan. But then the idea struck. I'm out here on a run, and I think I just had a really good idea. The homepage has been bugging the crap out of me for a while now. And really the two biggest goals that people are gonna have are to get to know me, to hear my story, and then also to see what's new. And just stick to those two things. Get to know me then, hear my story, and get to know me now. Now, I'm not saying that this is a groundbreaking idea, but this direction really felt right. Keeping the focus on the two main goals that someone would have when visiting my site, hearing my story and seeing what's new. With a few edits to the sitemap and wireframes, I am ready to move into the next phase. Here's the sitemap in a nutshell. We start off at the homepage. You basically have two options, then and now. So if you click then, it goes to my story, and my story will walk you through my career journey. And at every point, I'll hopefully have a case study, right? So that I can share that work in a meaningful way where it contributes to my story. Or if you go to the now page, you can see what I'm working on or what I'm feeling, the status of any of my goals or things that I'm into or what I'm listening to, etc., etc. But if you crack open the main nav, you have a couple of more options. You can go to the resources page, which will have just a list of stuff for you. And then from the resources page, you can actually get to the recent content that'll be surfaced on that page, but also you can view all content, and that'll be just a huge list of blog articles and videos and podcasts and stuff like that. And then as static pages, I'll have my home office set up, which is going to be just a complete breakdown of how I do things here, and then a book list, which will be more of like a collection page of all of the books that I've reviewed and that I recommend. So we're bringing all those recommended stuff under one roof. And then of course you've got the collab page, which is really more of a content or a contact page, and that'll have a contact form on it. Hopefully we'll be able to make that look cool. And then still on the site, but not really linked to or linked from anywhere, we'll have a projects list page so that if somebody does wind up wanting to see all my work, it'll just be a big list of projects. I'm liking this. I think this is a good option. This is a good route. I'm pretty stoked. I think that this site structure is perfect for what I'm going for. It's not entirely focused on content. It's not entirely focused on a portfolio, and it's not really focused on conversions or transactions of any kind, really. It's focused on creating a deeper relationship with people online. And this is a site I'm stoked to make. It's a project I've been dreading, putting off for a long time, and now I'm finally excited about it. And I'm gonna need that motivation. There's gonna be a lot of late nights working on this one. Next up, we're gonna be digging into some creative research that'll help us with the visual direction of the new site. Super excited. And by the way, it's been a while. I am looking forward to catching up with all of you in the comments section below. And when you head down there, just remember, I'm sharing my process here. These are just the things that I do to get to the end result. And I can guarantee you that there's probably a better way out there to do things. Find the process that works for you. And speaking of process, if you've missed out on all of the streams over on Twitch this year, you can catch up on all of the stream recordings, get more information about this series and more over at thefuture.com/built-by-hand. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Remember, go out there and crush it. You got this. We love you.